How goes the family? Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully, you guys are having a great and exceptional evening. Alrighty. So, before I get started, remember, I don't do politics, I do economics. This is not a political discussion. This is not left versus right. This is right versus wrong. This is finance, dollars and cents. Pure math. If you can't take that and accept that, then you're on the wrong channel. Because I always say, stop doing Democrats and Republicans, start doing checkers and savings. And if you've been to the grocery store, if you've been to the gas station, if you've looked for a home in today's world and tomorrow for the last 5 years, you see that your cost of living has gone up no matter who's in the White House, governor's house, or mayor's house. So, politics at this point is nothing but a great distraction. So all weekend I've been looking at videos from Peter Santinelli. You ever check out his content, definitely check it out. Peter Santinelli, Large Man Abroad. Who's the other young man whose content I was watching today? Because this subject matter is very interesting. And Drew Binsky. And one thing that I noticed between watching their content and me traveling around the United States these last 5 years is that more and more working people are broke as a joke. And the numbers for regular working day people, whether somebody's making $30,000 a year or $100,000 a year, a lot of people are just broke. Credit card debt is as high as it's ever been. It's especially been like that the last 2 years in 2023 and 2024, and it's looking like it's going to intensify in 2025 because the cost of living and inflation is very high. And nobody's really talking about how to curb these things from a corporate standpoint or a political standpoint. Nobody's really having these conversations. And usually when you have these conversations, everybody wants to go left versus right nonsense. And I'm like, look, dude, you have people that have been struggling since the Bush era, Obama era, Trump era, Biden era, and back to Trump again because of inflation. And because, you have people like, the big financial oligarchs like a black Vanguard, and various other major corporations that are buying up all real estate. So the housing market is up. The cost of housing is unaffordable for a lot of regular working people. High interest rates. A lot of people not willing to move because they locked in, especially during the 2020, 2021, 2022 timeframe where you locked into those low interest rates. Why would you want to buy another house and pay more for a property, especially given the fact that you're paying more to get maintenance done on your current property now, paying more money to get maintenance done on your cars, paying more money to go shopping. I mean, heck, there's an egg shortage. Eggs are costing between $7 and $10. For a lot. And that's why I said this is why I don't like watching the news. This is why I don't like, politics, because it's just it's nothing but a great distraction at this point. If you can't afford to pay your bills and can't afford to eat, who cares about who's elected into the White House? This is just a realistic thing. If you're on the brink, if you're one paycheck away from being homeless, then who cares about who's in the White House or the governor's house or mayor's house? You think people, especially if you go into any major city nowadays, and I can say and I'm just talking about from the pandemic to right now, I've been to Austin, Texas, San Antonio, Texas, Dallas, Texas, Houston, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, Jackson, Mississippi, Montgomery, Alabama, Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco, Oakland, as far as nationwide goes, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Richmond, Virginia. So this kills the whole left versus right crap, because I've been to the bluest states, to the reddest states. Because you have a lot of dope fiends, drug addicts, things of that nature, which is unfortunately. But then you just got, it's normal. It's been normal for a long time, especially since the last financial crash of 2007 and 8, for people to live in their cars in Los Angeles, California. But now it's become normal for people to live in their cars and have a job in in Washington, D.C., living in Washington, D.C., living in Atlanta, Georgia, living in Houston, Texas, living in Austin, Texas. I mean, hey, Austin and Houston, Texas have their own Skid Row. Phoenix, Arizona has their own Skid Row. And I got to see that a couple of years ago. And from what the locals was telling me, the Skid Row that they have, quote unquote, is worse, used to be worse until they started cleaning stuff out. You know, so, and the main reason of this topic is I told you more people will go broke is because more and more people, this mindset, this is why I always give respect to people who immigrate from other countries, okay? This whole mindset that it's all on me, I don't need anybody else, I don't need my family, you know, we're not gonna try to work together. It's hurting people more and more, regular working people every day, more and more. And what bothers me the most is, you see, rich people, for the most part, they have their own family. Love or hate Elon Musk, can't stand him, but he has his family and friends around him. He didn't just become a billionaire by one of the richest men, you know, the richest man in the world by just doing it by himself. This whole, it's on me and I don't need any financial support, you know, it's a lie, it's a sham. And as one great man said, a guy whose content I've watched religiously, he has said the thing that's not talked about enough is in America, you don't become rich by having a high paying job. You become rich by getting access to capital. One thing that's not really talked about by corporate America or our politicians. And therefore, this is why I don't like listening to them, because you're not talking about, I always say, if a person's not talking about access to capital, then the person is doing a great job of trying to distract me. And I leave it at that. John Hope Bryan. Check out a man named John Hope Bryan. He said he was on actual EYL University, Earn Your Leisure University, talking about this. He's like, the one thing that nobody ever talks about enough is how Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates, how they became rich. They got access to capital in order to invest in their businesses. They got government contracts, and you know, I'm from the DMV area. Getting government contracts have made people rich no matter who's been sitting in the White House for generations to come. I mean, government contracts in the United States of America go all the way back to since the beginning of, you know, this country. I mean, you can take it back to the companies that bought and sold the gunpowder and the guns and the bullets and the cannons and the ships to fight the British and whatnot in the American Revolutionary War. The same people who had because it wasn't the governments that were building it, it was companies, mom and pop and major corporations that were doing it at that time. Same thing if you can go back to the Wild Wild West, when people were, you know, mining gold and silver from Arizona to Nevada to California and whatnot. Who was the people that was selling the picks, the pitchforks, you know, people who were selling the clothing, people who were selling the material for people, because these were the pioneering days, in order for people to build homes and whatnot in those specific areas that were known as territories. Heck, the Homestead Act, where, you know, when they were expanding out west in America, people that was actually, you know, there's like, hey, the deal is we're going to give you this free land, you just have to farm it and whatnot and stay there. That's a contract with the government. You know, during the Wild Wild West days, a company that I used to work for, known as Pinkerton Government Services, back then just known as Pinkerton, they would assist U.S. Marshals in regards to law enforcement situations and security situations in the Wild Wild West, i.e. Texas, Arizona, California, etc., Colorado, when it came to security services, law enforcement services, and they had a contract with the federal government at the time. So moral of the story is, companies like that didn't become big because they had higher salaries. Companies like that became big because they had access to capital to invest into businesses. That's why I would say, if I don't hear a business person or a politician talking about how I can get access to capital, then I know that they're full of it. They're wasting my time, because that's how they got to where they got. A politician or business person, politician needs financial backers in order for them to run for office. No money, no campaign. No campaign, no election. It's that simple. A corporation needs money to be able to grow their empire and whatnot. Mom and pop business or corporation. Even if they are getting certain sales or requests for specific services and whatnot, subscriptions, whatever the case may be, whatever the company or the mom and pop business is doing, they can't stay afloat and they can't expand if they don't get access to capital. I don't care if it's a small family business. I don't care if it's a freaking major corporation. Access to capital, i.e. grants, i.e. bank business loans. And in certain instances where a lot of small businesses have had to have insurance plans, and universal insurance plans where they pay into an insurance plan long enough to where if they need to be able to, this is what they call in-home banking, where people can actually, they pay into a plan for a couple of years, and then the plan's worth $500,000 to $1 million, and they need to take out $100,000 to $500,000 in order for them to expand their business, or maybe, what I've done, or buy real estate, things of that nature. And they're borrowing from the plan, and they're just paying that money back by their monthly payments, or they could just pay it back without being penalized from a tax perspective. Think about drawing money into a 401k pension plan, but usually if you pull money out of it before a certain age and you get taxed, you have to pay a penalty tax on that. With a universal life insurance plan, you don't have to do that. But I digress. But anyways, that's what any store you go into, any business you frequent, they have to get access to capital. That's the name of the game. They say if you want to play, you got to pay. You get what you pay for in this life. So, and the main reason why most people, moral of the story is why most people are ending up broke is just they lack. It's not about working hard. Because you have a lot of people who've worked, me, when I was younger, I worked 2 to 3 jobs because I was building myself up. Nowadays, people are working 2 to 3 jobs so that they can get by. And in a sense, unfortunately, I call that hustling backwards. Because it's and then, because you have the people that would say, well, people need to live below their means. And of course, I do agree with that, because I'm a person that is firmly, the only expensive habit I have is I like to travel. That's it. I drive an old car. I wear regular clothing. I don't buy overpriced clothing. I don't care about name brands. haven't been into name brand for 20 years of my life. I'm 42 years old. It ain't that serious. If I think it looks good on me, I don't care if it says Humpty Dumpty on the tag. I'm gonna wear it. I'm 42 years old. Never had a car payment. Happy about that. Okay. Well, don't have any kids. Nothing wrong if you do have kids, but I'm just speaking on things that suck people financially. Kids, car payments, student loan debts, high rents, high mortgages, things of that nature. These things can, high credit card debt. These things can suck you dry. So being, I always say, look, knowing more about how to make money in your sleep means way more to me than knowing more about a sports team, a Super Bowl, comic books, video games, things of that nature. I love my entertainment as much as the next person, but I don't love it to the point where I got to have a long, in-depth discussion about it. Not for me. Okay. I don't judge anybody that does. I'm just saying not for me. Okay. Remember, this is coming out of a place. I do these lives. I do this content out of love. I'm not doing it out of hate. I'm not doing it out of spite. I'm not doing that. I think I'm better than you and whatnot. Only person I need to be better than is the person I was yesterday. And I'm going to speak on that to the day I die. Okay. And that's real. All right. But we're living in bad times to where the crime rate will go up, will go up if people cannot afford to pay their bills. If more and more working people are going to end up being, cast out into society. The paycheck to paycheck lifestyle is going to hurt people even more. And there's but so many people that can move down south, because if you go to any metropolitan city down south, i.e. Atlanta, i.e. Miami, Nashville, Tennessee, Charlotte, North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina, Houston, Texas, Dallas, Texas, Austin, Texas, even San Antonio, Texas. These places are being, the cost of living have gone up because of the amount of people that have gone there. So because of the demand, hence the word demand for housing, hence the words rents going up, cost of housing going up. This is what's been happening for the last 20 years, But during the pandemic, this intensified. And my Texans know about it. My Carolinians know about it. My folks in Florida and Georgia know about it, because folks in California and Texas, and even people from the DMV area have flooded that part of the country, because people wanted, one, they were tired of the lockdown, but then two, they were just tired of the high cost of living. But now the high cost of living has come to those areas. Because great example, when I was at the Best Fest, which is an investment, 3-day investment event that Earn Your Leisure University puts on last year in Atlanta, I can't tell you how many freaking people from New York and California I met that live in Atlanta, Georgia, or within a 2 or 3 hour radius. If you're watching right now, please hit the like button. But yeah, and I was just like, Lord have mercy, because even when I was at the airport, I was like, you know what, I had me a drink or two. And the three brothers that was at the event, all of them was from New York. One young brother that was there, he lived in Maryland, the DMV area, but everybody else was from New York. I'm just like, Lord have mercy. I feel like I'm in New York City now, not Atlanta, Georgia. So it's just, that's been the demographic change. Now, and then in the other mid-sized cities like Jackson, Mississippi, and Montgomery, Alabama, those are the next cities to be gentrified. One thing they have in common is the cost of living is very cheap. But then number two, what they have in common is they're both state capitals, great places to buy real estate investment properties. And that's why I've been going to Jackson, Mississippi. And this is why I need to get my butt back down to Montgomery, Alabama before I get priced out. But the moral of the story is, there was an article between watching those podcasts, and this article that said, bougie broke Americans spending more while falling further behind. And I was just like, if that is not a cool title, I don't know what is. It said, despite inflation adjustment incomes failing dramatically since January 2021, Americans are buying more than ever. That may sound like a contradiction, but it's perfectly possible, at least the short run. Americans today, especially the young, are just bougie broke. I love this term, bougie broke. That's a fancy way of saying people have given up on saving, investing, and planning for their future, so they spend every last dime in pleasure seeking. Ironically, the sky-high cost of living is what drives people to spend frivolously. Because if you look on social media, you wouldn't think that people are having a hard time paying their bills, making ends meet, buying food. You wouldn't think of that, because, everybody, especially, the fake world of social media, because that's a majority of social media, it's a fantasy world, it's an escape. So you would think everybody was traveling all the time. They're living their best life by going out to the most expensive, well-to-do establishments and things of that nature. You would think that, but most people aren't doing that. Most people in their bedroom at night with a bunch of filters, putting on a front that they're doing something big. And this is the most entertaining thing, because most people are living paycheck to paycheck and scraping by. And unfortunately, most people are surrounded by people with that same mindset and not trying to put their money together. That's why I said the one thing I always say about people who come to the United States, people from immigrating, no matter what country they come from, they are about putting $8 together. And you can make fun of a family that has 3 to 5 families living in one house, but I guarantee you those 3 to 5 families have an economic plan to take their lives to the next level and not remain in that situation for the rest of their lives. I have a conversation with my mother. It's just like, hey, I would love to be able to connect with my cousins, my brother, and whomever else in my family on both sides to say, hey, man, we put this amount of money together. I put this amount of money together. We use this credit score. I use my credit score, and we can flip some real estate. We can get some rental properties, and we can even open a family business. But unfortunately, with my family on both sides, and if they're watching, I don't care. It is what it is. They all just want to, be broken bougie or fake flossing and bougie in regards to, well, I got a degree, I was in the military, I am so special, I graduated with honors, and I went to Harvard, or I went to an HBCU, and I'm just the smartest person on the planet, and I know everything, and you know nothing, and you're before me. Like everybody's the freaking king and queen of Connecticut, New York, Jersey, Richmond, Virginia, or North Carolina. Yeah, I'm calling them out. Or Atlanta, Georgia. And truthfully, most people are either live just over broke. That's what having a job is, when you don't have money making money for you at the when you're sleeping. They're in the just over broke category, or they might be still doing well, but still their debt ratio is so out egregiously high to where they miss 1 to 4 paychecks they're out there on the street homeless, living in an overpriced house, driving an overpriced car, having the overpriced handbags, overpriced belts, overpriced clothes, overpriced everything because they want to floss on people and show off on people that they don't even know, they barely know, or they want to floss on family members that don't even care about them. So hence they become the just over broke and bougie community, from the young to the old. Or if they're older and they know and they have done well for themselves, they just want to brag about how well they've done for themselves. And they don't want to pass down any good institutional knowledge so that the next up and coming generation can do the same thing, or maybe possibly even do better. Great example, when I was at InvestFest last summer, I was giving these young guys some good information in regards to, hey, if you put your money together, if you house hacking basically means you buy a house. If you can afford to buy a house, you rent out the room so that you don't have to pay the mortgage. And I learned this from my best friend, Adrian. You wait a year or two and you take the money that you've saved and whatnot, or even possibly take an equity line of credit from your home and then buy another house and do it all over again. That way, the bank will see that you have multiple streams of income. Number one, yeah, you might have to pay taxes to the government. Okay, great. You're still going to have more money saved. And if you're smart, you figure out other ways to invest that money. Because if you don't, most people's financial situation would not be as bad right now if they did not have to worry about paying their rent or paying their mortgage. Okay? Imagine if a month went by, a whole year of your life goes by where you don't have to worry about paying your rent or your mortgage. What are you going to do? Let me know in the comment section if you're watching. What would you do with that extra money? Me, I already know what I do with that extra money. If I had a year, just 1 year, if I didn't have to worry about paying my mortgage, it's perfectly simple. I'm gonna save half of the other money and I'm gonna invest the other half of the money. That's simple. So the money is saved away for a rainy day, number one. The number two, the money can grow, whether it's in stocks or cryptos or bonds or whatever the case may be. Maybe even put it in a universal life insurance policy so that money can accumulate as the insurance company invested. And then a couple of years pass by, then I can take a loan out from my insurance plan, and therefore I become my own bank and I pay myself back by the monthly insurance payments that I have to make. Boom. That's exactly what I would do. That's simple. It is what it is. Okay. Keeping it simple. All right. Keeping it simple. So, but I leave it at that. But it's just like sometimes people just make me laugh, at the end of the day. But that's all. But at the end of the day, it's just like, these are the simple things you have to look into, because America's at a point now, and I'm looking forward to when the next 4 years are over with, because the media is just going to drown us out talking about what the current president is doing. Whether you love him or hate him, it's irrelevant at this point. America is becoming a place from a financial standpoint that a lot of people cannot afford to retire unless they have a plan to move to a very rural area. And I'm just talking about regular working people. The well-to-do will be fine, because the well-to-do are surrounded by a community of people who, even in hard financial times, they're going to be able to pull money from specific other areas and get access to capital from specific areas. Not even in this country, just this country. Our most well-to-do in the United States of America can get equity lines of credit with other foreign nations and other foreign governments at the same time, not just in America. Remember, corporations are global citizens. Majority of them are global citizens. But I'll leave it at that. A survey was done found that 60% of Gen Zs choose to buy experiences, spend a lot instead of saving for retirement. They often record those experiences and flaunt them on social media as if these occasional luxuries are a status symbol. They're not. If I ever put something on social media, it's not a status symbol. It's just me living my best life. It says, of course, many Americans cannot afford what they are buying. They can barely make the interest payments to finance their purchases, with 60% of them living paycheck to paycheck. This has caused consumer spending to greatly outpace incomes over the last several years, but it's not all sustainable. Eventually, the bills people are racking up will come due, and then there will be the devil to pay. At that point, Americans will be forced to cut back and maybe even trim necessities. All the while, the shift from saving and investing towards consumption is hamstringing long-run economic growth. The savings rate today is less than half its pre-pandemic levels, and has absolutely plummeted since January 2021, dropping by more than 4/5. And, remember, for those of us who were on lockdown during the pandemic for a very long time, a lot of people just, gone out of their mind, and just gone on a spending spree because everybody wants to flaunt for the gram, flaunt for TikTok, flaunt for Facebook or whatever other social media platform that people utilize, but at the end of the day, everybody's had to cut back. I mean, I'm sure the stock in Dollar Tree and Dollar General has gone up because more and more I've noticed, even myself, I've been going more to Dollar Tree specifically. Those places are jam-packed now. My mom said nowadays, hey, if I can get it for $1 to $1.25, I'm gonna get it for $1.25 because the cost of everything has gone up significantly. I don't plan on traveling as much this year because the cost of everything has gone up significantly. And I don't have the usual bills that most people have, i.e. kids, i.e. Student loan debts, i.e. car notes. I make a decent living. I have multiple streams of income. I'm not bragging, I'm just speaking on what it is. But what I'm saying is like 2025 is the cutout phase. Then if these tariffs make things go up that are being implemented, then hey, people could barely afford to get by on buying their food because of the current inflation. If things go higher because of tariffs, then hey, that are put on other nations, then it is what it is. And this whole thing of, I might even want to speak on that, but let's just say things are going to get rougher in 2025, and I foresee people possibly traveling less. If they do go out, they may possibly go out more locally. And if they do travel, then they might just take a road trip or something like that because, having to, get a plane ticket, get a rental car, have a place to stay and whatnot, like hotels are possibly going to suffer. Airbnbs are possibly going to suffer because, like the article said, eventually, the bill will come due for credit cards. The bill, because a lot of times, hence going into my next and last final point, credit cards, which I'm a big fan of. I actually use my credit card more than my debit card, and I am an avid fan of utilizing your credit cards for things you're going to have to buy, not just to show off and whatnot, but the simple fact that hey, you get, if you do it right, you get cashback rewards depending on the card you get. You get air miles depending on the credit card you get, and I always say get as many as possible. And then you're able to get a significant amount of points to where you can pay off your debt with those points, or you can use those points and whatnot to stay at a hotel or do whatever you have to do. But points, air miles, cashback rewards, it's a beautiful friggin' thing. And I'm all about it. That's why I'm a big avid fan of credit cards, because if you got a good credit score, not only can you get access to more capital, but you're able to utilize like an American Express card. You can get, if you're an avid flyer like me, you can get airline cards with specific airlines to where you get miles when you utilize the airlines, and then when you fly, you get a free bag or half off on a bag or whatnot, or free upgrades with the airline. And like an example with United Airlines, I get 2 free lounge passes because of the credit card I have with them. Same thing with American Airlines, having the Admirals card. I'm able to go to the American Airlines Admirals Lounge. First time I did that last year. It was magnificent. I loved it, But I can get down in the dirt with everybody else, but because like I'm going to Texas, I fly Southwest, because they got the good deal. So it's just like getting the best of both worlds. I'm a member of Southwest. I get points every time I fly. So it's just like, hey, you're going to spend money in this life, get as many points back as possible. And then if you have a specific credit card and you got to gas up, you pay your bills with these certain credit cards. American Express is a great example of this. Then you get cashback rewards. You get points. These are just things to take into consideration, family. That's all I'm saying. But anyways, the article says, let me read it this way. It's much better. It says it could be unrelenting inflation, high household debts, or just the cost of living. But according to a survey, 2,000 Americans, nearly half are experiencing negative financial feelings and consider themselves broke, with 66% saying that they are living paycheck to paycheck. Lending is expertise, the issue. Just Professor Jim Burrows was quoted in a recent Market Watch article about the pervasive financial insecure self-image currently plaguing many U.S. residents. He stated, and I quote, he offers approaches for people with meager means the best cushion to blow of unexpected large expenditures, such as large medical emergency bills, which that can definitely suck you dry. He believes that they will best serve, but by concentrating on situations that do lie within their control. And before I even go on, like I was watching one podcast today, and this couple in Seattle, they both college graduates, the older in the 50s and 60s, and because of the husband's mother's medical bills, they took a second mortgage out on the house, and then they ended up being homeless. Unfortunately having to live in their car. They're living in their car because they're living in the car because they could not afford to pay their bills anymore. And it was a real sad thing, unfortunately, but they ended up having to do that, unfortunately, because they couldn't and then I think the wife lost her job, and then they ended up getting like remote jobs and things of that nature, but they're living out of their car in Seattle, Washington. And the thing is, on this one this one YouTube page, he pointed out, showing that in a wealthier city like quote unquote Seattle, because Seattle is a very expensive city to live in, but there's a lot of money there. And then he went to West Virginia, one of the poorest states in the United States of America. So it showed the parallel that, hey, I could live in a rural state where it's cheaper to live, or I could live in an overpriced state where there's way more jobs and whatnot. But I could still be screwed, depending on the situation, And this is why I actually understand why a lot of people stay with their family, Community is, financial and emotional community was ever needed in this country right now, it is needed in 2025. And I can't put it any other way. Okay, it is needed. It is needed. It's no joke out here, family. All right, get back to the article. All right, so where was I at? So anyways, the article talked more about sticking to a budget. This will help ensure the obligations are met and even allow some discretionary spending within reason. The professor, he adds that essential to have the right risk management strategies in place, such as having adequate insurance, or that small businesses protect themselves by incorporating. And at the end of the day, to me, he doesn't really go in on the things that matter the most. You need, community, financial community matters the most. If you always say, like Nipsey Hussle said, if you are looking at us, if you're surrounded by people and you're not inspired, then you are living in a prison. And that's why I don't really rock with too many people, because I find that most people can create a prison around me because they don't inspire me. I'm not inspired whatsoever. I should be more inspired, but I'm not. And it's an unfortunate thing, but it's just a realistic thing. If your significant other doesn't inspire you, get the heck away from them. If they don't encourage you, get away from it. If you're not trying to encourage people to inspire other people need to get away from you. But I told people, look, if you did not focus on, I've been saying this since I've really been saying this since the pandemic. I'm not going to say since I started this channel, but I will say this. I've been saying this since the pandemic. If you're not trying to increase your income, if you're not trying to increase your value, if saving and investing money is not a part of your daily forte, if you're not living below your means so that your bank account and assets look better than your house and your car, then you're hustling backwards. And I'm all for coupons, shopping at the dollar store and Dollar Tree, Dollar General, and all that good stuff. But if you're barely scraping by and you're driving a Cybertruck, then your priorities are blown out of proportion. But that's just, that's my personal opinion. I can't feel sorry for somebody driving a Tesla, a Maybach, a Cybertruck, or any other brand new vehicle right now, but you barely scraping by, and you're this close to getting evicted, this close to having your house foreclosed upon you, this close to just being homeless. But we live in a world now where people care more about what other people think, so much to the point where in their house, everything has to be brand new. Their car has to be plush. Everything has to be exotic, because they care so much about what people think about them. And that is one of the saddest things. But we definitely do live in a world now where having a plan to go to another country when you retire might be on the thing to do. And I'm not saying this out of spite of hating America. I love the United States of America. This is my home. This is where I'm from. Born and raised here. Don't get more American than me. But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, from a purely economic standpoint, if you're as a working person in America, the deal was I should be able to save money and invest money so that when I get older, I don't have to work. I work less, so I don't have to work at all. And that is a dying thing for most regular working people, especially, Lord forbid, if somebody has a medical issue. All right. So let me know what you think in the comment sections. Thank you for liking. Thank you for the current and future subscribers. But I told people, if you don't focus on the right things, then the right things will focus on you. And you can end up broke as a joke. And that ain't no joke. I just leave it at that. So do the great thing for your things, family. Like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day. And as I always say, make money moves or you're going to live bro like a fool. As it's saying in Spanish, bienvenida a la vida. If you're a stock market investor, crypto investor, individual retirement account investor, don't forget to check out WEBULL, Coinbase, all those platforms. You'll be able to, make some money moves. I get a little bit of a referral fee, all that good stuff. But just try to smile, try to be positive. All that good stuff. And then just try to be, the best version that you can be. So, because the ride is going to get crazy. It's going to get bumpy around here. And if you're not about, like I said, if you're not about your business, that's why I said this is the main reason, because people are always like, why do you go to InvestFest? I'm like, dude, I like to be around men that are talking business, investments. Like InvestFest for me is like going to the Super Bowl. Okay, when I'm around specifically grown people, but specifically grown men that are talking about how to get some money and invest some money and create business and get access to capital, man, there ain't nothing like that. That is what I like to hear. So you can keep the sports and entertainment. I don't need to binge on that. I need to binge on how to get some money and make money grow for me. So on that note, I'm out. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button. It's very simple. Don't forget to subscribe, because if it's free. So if it's free, then it's me. On that note, I'm out. Take care. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully, you're having a great day. If you've been watching Larry's Anything Goes programming, you know that we are not only providing great financial intelligence content as much as possible by interviewing other financial professionals, professionals in the travel industry, real estate industry, etc., and so forth, but we provide various services when it comes to specific products that we sell, from anything that you would actually find on Amazon or actually at Walmart, etc., and so forth. And we are actually providing specific products due to today's current crisis and whatnot, to ensure that we provide the right services and products that you need at a reasonable price when it comes to medical face masks, when it comes to hand sanitizer, and when it comes to latex gloves and things of that nature, and etc., and so forth, toilet paper, paper towels. But we have what you need. Also, family, don't forget that Larry's Anything Goes is a part of an affiliate marketing network known as Gold Standard Partners, where you have the opportunity to buy cryptocurrency and allow others to invest with you as becoming an affiliate marketing partner. And obviously, if they purchase a package with the program, you're able to make money off their package purchases and make money off of their crypto purchases and things of that nature. If you want to join, please follow the links in the description, and I'll give you a call as soon as you sign up and purchase a package, and we'll go from there. But definitely, it's all about the best way to make money moves is to have currency with one another, and to ensure that currency is always being spoken of on all levels, so it benefits everyone and not just one specific person. That's a lot of things that people forget about. So think about joining the program, and we'll be able to go from there. But if not, either way, it's always appreciated. And thank you for watching, and hopefully you guys have a great day and continuously make money moves so you don't live broke like a fool. Take care. As you can see, with our various products, we have our financial apparel, as you see, wearing There's Anything Goes t-shirt, financial intelligence is sexy, face masks, latex gloves, things of that nature, to obviously ensure the safety of you and your family all at the same time. We want to ensure that you get the best products and see the actual products that we're actually providing for you, and giving you another view of not only the shirts and the medical masks, but actually another view of actual latex gloves and the actual hand sanitizer. Because one thing we've learned throughout this unfortunate crisis is that we have to take more precautionary measures to ensure not only the safety for ourselves, but for our families. And having a great pair of hand sanitizers, latex gloves, and medical face masks will ensure that safety. And with all that being said, hopefully you guys will check out our online store. We have the various products that you see here. With a couple of clicks, especially if you're paying via PayPal, it makes life that much easier for you to purchase our various products, especially during this unfortunate situation. You see the apparel from Larry's Anything Goes. We have the medical products when it comes to hand sanitizer, latex gloves, medical face masks, things of that nature, and various other products. So please check out Larry's Anything Goes. Support small local businesses. We greatly appreciate it, and hopefully that you have a good day.
Mike, now.